56, Mr. Winker, episode 56 of the Mainline Marlins podcast.
Great to be here.
And we've got a really special guest on today in light of what was happening yesterday with Paul Campbell on the suspension for DC HMT. Apparently he doesn't know what it is until yesterday. Go ahead. And then I'm going to introduce the guest.
And it comes on, yes, you were criticizing Paul Campbell's performance.
Right. So apparently that didn't work. So maybe he needed to go see our next guest for an enhanced protocol. But let's bring him on. Famous for the great movie that Billy Corben did, Screwball. The infamous one, Tony Bosch. Tony, you there?
Of course I'm here for you.
What's up, my friend?
How you doing?
All right, buddy. It's good to be on this end and interviewing you instead of being on the other side doing the production side.
Yeah, right. It's a little weird for me since I'm now used to the other end, but we're here.
That's it. All right. So yesterday, Paul Campbell got an 80-game suspension for DCHMT, which is also oral. I'm not sure what.
Tell us what it is.
Steroid, but yeah, tell us what it is, and let's dive into that a little bit.
I'll tell you what it is, and I'll give you my opinion, and I'll try to dumb it down, so you guys could understand it exactly what's going on there. But basically, what he tested positive for is something called let me see if I get this right the first time, dihydrocollomethyl testosterone. Okay, otherwise the street name or another brand name for it is called Turunabol. And basically, it's a steroid, all right? And a lot of these players, as soon as he tested positive, I started doing a little research, and I found out that a lot of these players, both in MLB and other major sports, especially here in the U.S.,
we lost his audio. Lost your audio, Tone.
Hang on, Tony. We lost your audio.
Yeah, you might have hit it.
Here he is. Tony, can you hear us?
We can't hear him. Darn.
Hang on, Tony. We're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, hey, Tony, how about you go clock out or punch out and come back in and see if the audio comes back, because we lost your audio there.
There he goes. But he just stays on.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. But anyway.
We lost you at it was a steroid. It's a steroid.
Yeah.
And the street name, and then you went through the street name.
Right. So the street name is Turunabol. And it's a very known steroid. It's an old steroid. It's been used for decades, since the 70s. And I started reading, a lot of these players are testing for a metabolite that is produced by this steroid. Basically, a metabolite is a smaller substance or breakdown of the Turunabol that proves that he was taking this steroid, if you will. And so, again, and there's many theories, but let's talk about really what's really going on there. We know that there's only 3 natural steroids in the body. They're steroidal hormones. There are the estrogens, which it's about 3 of them. There are the testosterones. There's about 5 of them, and there's them as vitamin D, or the Ds, which is about 2 active ones and 1 inactive one. And those are the only steroidal hormones in the body. Now, how he got this inside of him, if you ask me, okay, obviously it wasn't through food. It wasn't through anything other than something that he ingested, and that he knew about it or he didn't know about it. That's neither here nor there. If you look at the substance, and let's break down the substance, it's called, I said, dihydrocollomethyl testosterone. So what is dihydro? Dihydro is a substrate or an enzyme, if you will, okay, that allows the rest of the substance to travel throughout the body in certain places, okay? So it could cross a blood-brain barrier. it could work inside the cell as opposed to one that doesn't. Cholomethyl, if you really look at it, it's another enzyme, if you will, and crazy as it sounds, it's used. You guys are going to get a kick out of this. It's used normally to create detergent, so cleaning detergent. Either, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. And then of course you have the testosterone end of it. So I just broke down the word, and so when we put it all together, it's basically this substance that could travel wherever it wants to in the body. That it's also, it's also used for detergent, and it's testosterone based. Another thing I want you guys to understand: all these designer steroids that you hear, the Decas, the Equipoise, the Turunabol, the Anavar, the Proviron, all these, at the end of the day, it's all testosterone. It's all base or estrogen. And we saw how brilliantly Victor Conte back in the day used the estrogen to create the clear, the famous clear. Okay, but it has to be created either by testosterone or by estrogen, if you will. So I'm going to use an analogy here. I don't know if it's still being used, but I know you guys remember Silly Putty, if you will.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's still sold. So for the younger generation, it's basically this piece of clay, if you will, soft clay, for lack of a better term, that you can mold into whatever you wanted to. But you would buy the Silly Putty, okay, and then you can mold it into whatever you want. Well, that's how steroids are made. They could only be made from those three steroidal hormones I just mentioned to you: estrogen, testosterone, and D. And everything that you do besides that is to mold it a certain way in order to activate some biochemical pathway, so it could, so it could do one particular thing. And so, for example, Anavar, it's a cutting agent. Deca, it's a healing agent, but also used to build muscle and so on and so forth. So, how the player had to ingest something, either.
But you go ahead. I got like a two-part question. One is, what is the delivery system? Is it injectable?
Well, before we get to that,
orally,
but let me just ask. So just to make it, so we're talking about what the substance is. So you were saying the different steroids are designed to do different things. What was the purpose? What is the purpose of this substance?
The purpose of Turunabol, used by itself, it's basically for muscle recovery and increase of muscle strength. And so it does create those two things. And it goes back to what I've always said. A ball player at that level, all they really need is a recovery.
Exactly.
Right. So does he have to take it injected, or is it taken orally? How does he take it?
He could do both. Turunabol could be taken orally. It could be injected. It could, it could be administrated in so many ways. You could you could do it transnasal, which is basically you're inhaling it. You could do it under the tongue, sublingual. You could do it sub-Q, which is the little insulin syringes, and you can put it in your fat, and it's going to work. But the point I want to make is, the fact that you're saying, I don't know how it got there. Well, that's going to be hard to believe, because you're not going to get it in food. I don't know. Maybe there are some medications. Look, let me give you an example. So the metabolite M4 that they talk about, there's an inhibitor there, which is another substance called PDE5. And PDE5 is actually an enzyme, okay, but it inhibits or blocks certain pathways, so there could be an improvement of vasodilation. The famous, I'll give you a famous medication, prescription medication that uses the PDE5, sildenafil, otherwise known as Cialis or Viagra. So what could it be that all these players that tested positive for this metabolite that is coming up as Tarunabol, can it be that they were on Cialis or on Viagra? And my next question is did they all buy the same Cialis and the same Viagra from the same?
Well, let me stop you there. So, and how many? Do you know how many of these? Like, how many players have tested positive the last couple of years for this substance?
No, I don't. But I was reading. There was a lot. Because I believe there's a lawsuit. They have a class action lawsuit, I believe, or maybe I'm wrong. You guys could check that out. But I believe there's a class action lawsuit. Basically, brought forth by 3 or 4 of these guys saying, "Hey, I've never taken anything before in my life. This is BS." And, there's something wrong because you only found small traces of this rather than large traces. They have a point where, yeah, it's small traces. But then again, on the flip side of that, I disagree. You have to have taken something. Even if you were aware or you weren't aware, I'm not saying they're guilty, that they knew what they were saying, what they were taking, because I think MLB has a policy in place that if you don't know what you're taking or it was sold to you under a different pretense, then it's okay. So, but look, at the end of the day, and this is the mystery, this is one of the mysteries. This Tarunabol, it's out of your system. If you were to Google this, it tells you 21 days or 22 days. Look, in 90 days, 120 days, this is completely out of your system. The fact that they still have traces of this metabolite, that's what brings up the question, hey, was it from a medication that had, or that converted to PDE5? Or is there a supplement out there that is being tainted, with this metabolite? And so, again, now I have to, now I'm passionate about this, T. So, this is where MLB falls short. They're quick in pulling the trigger and saying, "Oh, you have a metabolite, okay, and it's not it's over 100." It's not under 100, because if it's under 100, it's okay. But if it's over 100, it's not okay. All right. But they stop there. They don't do further investigations. And in my world, I know a lot of scientists that could break this down and basically, by the process of elimination,
find out where it came from.
Exactly. And so you could call the one that are lying, you could call them liars. The ones that really did it because they have no idea, then you could select them out of that group or whatever. And I believe it was 21 players since 2015 that have tested positive. I have by the way, Tia, you're not the only one with a fact checker. I have a fact checker.
You got your own?
So I think it's 21 players that have tested positive for this metabolite, granted. Not the Tarunabol, not the drug Tarunabol, not in its half-life form or any other percentage form, but for the metabolite, I believe, of M4 or whatever the metabolite is, since 2015, 21 players. So
we want to interrupt you. I have a question, but did you see the statement that Paul Campbell gave?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read it. It's not that long. It says, I've been informed by Major League Baseball that I have failed a drug test for the long-term M3 metabolite of a substance called DHCMT, also known as oral Turinabol. The test detected 10 picograms of this metabolite in my system, an amount which itself has no performance-enhancing benefits. I never knowingly, willingly, or intentionally ingested the substance in any form, nor I've ever heard of DHCMT prior to this situation. And then he goes on to, apologize to the fans and the people that were supporting him. But How long would he have had to been taking it to?
Well, let's
Go ahead.
What is your that was put out by by MLB Players Association on his behalf.
Right.
What do you think about? Well, I guess let me ask you this. I want you to react to that, but I also kind of want to understand the process of what happens. Like, how often are the players drug tested? How would this have gone down? How long ago was this test? Can you tell us the process?
Yes. So basically, they are drug tested certain times of the season. So they definitely get drug tested during spring training. As soon as they report to spring training, they're going to get tested right about this time. Right before the All-Star break, about a month or 2 months before, and they're going to get tested right probably a month or 2 months before the postseason. And so they use those three standard timelines in order to test all these players. Now they go beyond that, obviously, and there's obviously the obvious or the human aspect of this, which is if a player looks a certain way, if they hear the noise where hey, this guy might be on something or whatever, they'll go ahead and test that player more often, maybe one or two more times during the regular season. So I've never heard of them testing in the postseason, during the playoffs or World Series. Just because I think it's not good for business. They will do it in the offseason. And again, they're targeted players.
So tell us about what's your reaction to his statement? As a lawyer, I found it interesting. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I have a feeling he didn't draft that on his own. Like, what was his goal in making that statement? Like, it seems like he's conceding, I got no legal path. It almost seems like PR to say, I don't know how I got it. It wasn't enough to affect me. What's your take on what he's trying to do?
Well, look, I've very rare you're going to get a player to say, yeah, I took it. Yeah.
That never happens.
I'm guilty.
And they definitely didn't suspect him of high performance on the field because the guy was getting stroked on every time he was on the mound.
He's throwing up meatballs every game.
Yeah, so apparently he wasn't on the right dosage.
He wasn't on the right dosage, right? And so I do agree with him that it's not enough to make a difference, that the little amount that they found. But that's not the point. The point is, they're all going to be surprised, obviously. I think that's the amount. But to answer your question, I think they understand or they know that this Taruna ball has been, has been something that's been questioned by 21 players since 2015. I know that there is like a class action lawsuit going on or something to that effect, or somebody sued somebody saying that's not that, I didn't take anything or whatever. I don't know how it ended up or whatever. And so I think they took advantage of that, and they're just jumping on the bandwagon and falling behind in line with these people. And hopefully that'll create a question mark and a doubt, or it might, pause, give reason for the MLB to pause and say, hold on, maybe, this is number whatever, 22 or whatever whatever number he is. And I think that was the angle that they used, knowing very little about Tony Clark. That's the angle that he probably used.
It's interesting. I was laughing. It's when you said that it would be interesting if he just came out and said, shame the MLB with, hey man, I have some ED problems, and
yeah. That's my biggest takeaway is the guy could be not performing in the bedroom and then get banned for 60 games.
It's funny to say that because I don't know if you guys know this. So during the arbitration back in the day with A-Rod, that was his claim. His claim, he went in there, and I remember he had Tacopina, as a lawyer, the famous Tacopina. He should have been a boxer or a fighter, an MMA fighter instead of a lawyer, but whatever. And he said, I thought he was giving me Viagra.
Tony, on that note, you've done such a great job. I appreciate you explaining what happened, how it was caught, what's he doing, what do you think happened? We've talked a lot with you in the past. You're good at kind of seeing through the BS, I should say.
Right.
What do you think is really happening?
Okay, so what I think, and I'm going to go ahead and with the little facts that I have, obviously not being there, not knowing, but knowing enough about that inner circle, if you will. I believe that these ball players, you have to understand, these ball players, if one guy takes one supplement and he performs, he's going to share that with other ball players. Or if he doesn't want to share it voluntarily, they're going to find out about it. So what I'm trying to say is that if one guy takes one thing, most likely all these other guys are going to take the same thing, same product, same brand, same everything. The thing did not get there by default. They had to have taken something that's not considered food, if you will. Okay. And I think, in my opinion, I think they took a supplement that had traces of Tarunabol. And that's very likely. And I'm going to go with the most likely reason because I don't have enough facts. I can tell you later what I would do to figure it out. But to answer this one question is I think that they all took the same supplement from the same brand, from the same manufacturer, and it had traces. It was tainted, and they had traces. But
with that being said, let's say like 3 guys in the Marlins were taking it. Would they all be tested at the same time? Like, is there a reason he was the only one that would come out, or does it have to do with the metabolism of the system of their bodies?
A little bit of everything. They don't test everybody at the same time. Before biogenesis, it was a lottery. It was a lottery type of thing, or so they said. So somebody could have been tested once a year. So other people could have been tested 5 times a year. Now it's more, it's more of a standard thing that you're going to be tested. I think it was his turn to be tested. And I just think that, he was just tested at the wrong time. Really was what happened.
Yeah.
Because we got a next one quick question. So the idea is in your mind, and again, this pure conjecture, like this is our opinion here with very limited facts we have, as you said. Do you think like when he was taking that supplement, like if you're a ball player today, you're in the big show, you're on the brink, you're back and forth, AAA, the big show.
Right.
Do you think he, in his mind, was like, this may have something bad? Or do you think that, is he purely innocent? Like, was he taking a supplement that he just 100% was like, this is just like a bunch of vitamin D?
No, I don't think anybody there in the MLB is purely innocent. That's a short answer. No, I think, look, they're very well aware. It's not like 10 years ago. They're very well aware about PEDs and what they could do to their career. And they're making better choices. It's almost like, hey, I already signed my deal. What the hell do I need this stuff for?
Yeah, why would I do this? Yeah.
I'm honest with you. And so I think they're more educated consumers, for lack of a better term. And there's always that risk. I think the main thought that he had, hey, everybody else is taking it. Why can't I take it? And yes, it does have to do with your metabolism. If it's going to be there or it's not going to be there, or what capacity or what dosages is going to be there, or the amount it's going to be there. So it does have to do with metabolism. It has to do with just the fact that these guys have to take some type of supplement. Maybe when you're 20 years old you have to, but when you start getting up there in age, let's face it. Guys are not getting maybe caught as often, but that's because there's new things going on. You know.
Right. Hey, so Tony, how many interviews have you had to do today about this subject? I know you're Sid Rosenberg and some other ones. How many so far?
Yeah, so this is my second one, and I actually, the other one was via phone, which was a writer for a sports network, and actually Sid is on Thursday. He called me this morning. He said, "No, you're on Thursday." I said, "Okay." Sid, we'll do Thursday, and so yeah, and I know I have like 2 more text messages from other sports writers. So I'll be.
That's a testament to you being an expert in the field, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you, sharing this, and it's it's always a pleasure talking to you. Like you're open, you're honest, you're knowledgeable, and like you said, more importantly, you dumbed it down for two lawyers like that know nothing about science. We always say our math skills got us into law school. So you did a great job. I hope the viewers enjoyed it.
Hey, let's do a plug for Tony's show.
Yes.
Tony's got a show on Fridays at 3:00 called The Ugly Truth with Nick and Tony. Got some awesome guests on, and going to be back on this Friday. So
that's awesome. And please say hi to it's interesting that you're doing it with Sid. I'm gonna be tuned in. We miss Sid down here, man, and I'm glad to see him. I'm glad to see him thriving up in New York. I got to tell you,
he's doing great in New York. He was down. He's filming also with Andrew Dice Clay this series, and so
I love it. I love it.
Let me see if I can run both of them down there to you guys.
Yeah, man, we got it. We'll just turn over the chairs to those 2 guys
in a hot minute.
We'll leave. We'll get in our cars and go home.
That's it for sure. Hey, thanks, Tone.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you so much, man. Have a great day,
man.
bud.
All right. Bye-bye.
Wow. How awesome was that, bro?
It's a side.
That's a freaking.
It's the side. I got to tell you something. This is the kind of thing where it's like it's a side of the game that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
And here we are with the Marlins. What do we talk about the most right now?
Yeah.
Everyone's injured.
Yeah.
This is all about keeping your body staying there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Level.
Like what he said is like, you get a contract. So why are you going to mess around with this? And it's like, well,
because that's without pay. Those
but if I ain't
without pay.
No, right. But there is pressure. You got to think that you ain't gonna get paid if you're hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a balance. Like, yeah, you did get the big contract, but if you're out with a sore back and a sore ankle and your toe won't heal, and it's it's really tough for people. I remember watching the Ben Johnson thing on ESPN, and it was so heartbreaking to see where he ended up as the fastest man in the world to like he's almost like semi-homeless, like not doing well, and the kind of the decision he made, and it was like the big takeaway from that was. All steroids let him do was work harder, right? Because it let him heal, and he had to get stronger,
basically what Tony
bigger,
was
faster.
Yeah, it's about recovery.
All this is recovery, and it's so this idea it's cheating, but it's cheating in a way that just kind of lets you heal. So it is,
Wow, so good information right there. Let's talk about one good thing that came out yesterday. Trevor Rogers, National League Rookie of the Month.
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
I was so glad to see him.
Pumped for that guy.
To see him get recognized.
Yeah. And it's been a while since the Marlins been on one of those lists. So it's good to see him. He's a young kid, and look, his future is super bright for the Marlins. Looking forward to it.
And so last time I leave you, we should beat these Diamondbacks.
Listen, so today for sure, Riley Smith, this guy's a bum. Part 2, we got Sandy going against him, and we got to hit the reset button after the disastrous road trip. I mean, there are some good things that came out of it, some bad things, some injuries, some other things. We're going to have Brian Anderson back, hopefully soon. Jazz, Starling Marte. Look, we got to come back home, hit the reset button, because we're only here for a few games. Yep. Then we go on another long road.
It's funny you say, because I was
LA, and that's not going to be pretty.
I often think about what it's like in that locker room, and you and I have played sports all our lives, and like this is that moment where the coach just walks in and like just go like. Beat these fools. Beat these fools.
Right. Can we this is embarrassing. Why are we not crushing these clowns?
Like we don't let's not look backwards. Like Washington crushed us. But these guys, you need to take care of business.
Yeah. And I think it's Madison Bumgarner on the third game on Thursday, and that guy has been pretty bad as of late. And I think he's even actually has created a pseudonym for himself and goes to rodeos and competes in rodeos. So nobody knows it's really Madison Bumgarner. I don't even know what that's about. Like you moved from San Francisco, now you're in Arizona, now you're a rodeo cowboy. Yeah, keep that career, bro. We're gonna light you up on Thursday. Can't wait. And let's see who it's gonna be. Is it gonna be? We're gonna have Anthony Bender because he's the only pitcher left on the taxi squad.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be Bender. Yeah. So let's see what happens. But tonight we've got Sandy going against Riley Smith. I believe that's what 7:05 or 7:10 start. So we need to hit the reset button this week. And look, the Brewers come back, and Yelich and Bain are both back from off the IL, and so they're going to be a little bit more formidable opponents than they were when we were up in Milwaukee with their better lineup. So yeah, we got to get a good start tonight and see what happens.
Awesome.
All right, so let's flip the M.
Thanks, Denise.
Thanks, Denise. Go Fish.
Preview.